In a small African village surrounded by dusty roads and dry fields, there lived a boy named Kofi. Kofi had no parents. They died when he was very young, leaving him in the care of a struggling village orphanage with a leaking zinc roof. When it rained, water dripped into bowls placed on the floor. When harmattan came, cold wind passed through the cracks in the walls. At night, Kofi would lie on a thin mat, staring through a hole in the roof at the stars. He would whisper, "One day, I will rise." The other boys laughed. "Rise to where?" They mocked. "You don't even have slippers." But Kofi didn't argue. He just kept dreaming. By age 10, Kofi started working. He shined shoes at the roadside. He carried heavy loads at the market. He fetched water for shop owners. Some days, he ate. Some days he didn't. But every night, he collected old newspapers the traders used to wrap goods. He couldn't attend school regularly. There was no money, so he taught himself. Under moonlight, under streetlights, under hope. He learned to read slowly, then faster. He became curious about one thing: money. How did some people have so much, while others had nothing? At 18, Kofi decided to start a small business. He borrowed a little money and opened a roadside stall selling vegetables and small goods. He was excited. "This is it," he told himself. But business was slow. Suppliers demanded payment. Customers bargained heavily. His partner got frustrated. One evening, his partner said, "Kofi, I'm leaving. This isn't working." And just like that, Kofi was alone. The stall failed. He lost everything. That night, sitting behind his empty table, he whispered, "Maybe they were right about me." But something inside him refused to die. One afternoon, while sitting at his failing stall, Kofi noticed something. Farmers walked long distances carrying fresh tomatoes and yams. By the time they reached the market, some produce had spoiled, buyers complained. Farmers lost money. Kofi's eyes widened. The problem isn't the crops, it's transportation. That night, he didn't sleep. He made a plan. Kofi borrowed a small handcart. He approached farmers. "If I help you transport your goods faster to the city market, will you pay a small fee?" They were unsure, but they agreed to try. The first week was hard. He pushed the cart himself under the hot sun. The second week, more farmers joined. Soon, he saved enough to rent a small pickup truck. Then another. Then another. Years passed. Kofi built a small logistics company helping rural farmers transport goods efficiently. He hired drivers. He created storage centers. He reduced food waste. What started as a cart became a fleet of trucks. What started as survival became strategy. Investors noticed. Partnerships formed. His company expanded beyond one village, then beyond one region, then beyond one country. By age 35, Kofi became one of the wealthiest logistics entrepreneurs in the region. The same boy who once had no slippers now owned buildings, trucks, warehouses, and investments. But he never forgot the leaking roof. He returned to his village. He built schools. He built roads. He funded orphanages. Standing in front of a newly built school, he told the children, "I was once where you are. I owned nothing, but I owned a dream." Kofi looked up at the sky, the same sky he stared at through the broken roof years ago. This time, there were no holes above him, only possibility. And he smiled. Kofi had everything now. Private jets, luxury, cars, headlines calling him the village boy who became a billionaire. But one night, sitting alone in his glass office overlooking the city lights, he felt something strange. Silence. Not the peaceful silence of the village, but the lonely kind. He looked at his reflection in the window and whispered, "Is this all?" He remembered the leaking roof, the dusty road, the farmers. He remembered hunger, and suddenly, success felt incomplete. One afternoon, Kofi received news. The same village that raised him was struggling again. Floods had destroyed farms. Young people were leaving. Schools were underfunded. He closed his laptop. He canceled meetings. He boarded a plane. When Kofi stepped into his village again, nothing felt small anymore. But something felt broken. Children were still walking barefoot. Farmers were still struggling. He gathered the village elders under the old mango tree. "Kofi, we cannot keep surviving. We must build." The elders nodded. Kofi didn't just give money. He built systems. A modern farming training center, storage facilities to reduce food waste, scholarships for young entrepreneurs, a tech hub for rural innovation, he told the youth. Don't just look for jobs, solve problems. But not everyone was happy. Some city businessmen felt threatened. They tried to block his expansion. They spread rumors. They attempted legal battles. For the first time in years, Kofi faced pressure again, but this time, he was not a boy with a cart. He was prepared. One evening, Kofi sat with an old farmer who once trusted him with a small cart. The farmer said, "Farmer, you became rich because you solved our problem. Now you are great because you returned." That night, Kofi understood something deeper. Being a billionaire was not the victory. Impact was standing before hundreds of young Africans at a business conference. Kofi said, "I was once an orphan. I owned nothing, but I refused to believe I was nothing." Wealth is not money. Wealth is the ability to create change. The crowd stood in applause. Late at night, Kofi visited the orphanage where he once slept. The roof was new now. The walls were painted. Children laughed inside. He looked up at the sky again, not to escape it, but to thank it.